Justin Baldoni's lawsuits have just been thrown out. Judge Lehman announced today that Justin Baldoni's $400 million countersuits against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, as well as his lawsuit against the New York Times and Leslie Sloan, have all been tossed. This is a huge loss for Justin Baldoni and a major win for Blake Lively. So the judge announced today that the motion to dismiss was granted and his $400 million lawsuit against Blake and Ryan is gone, as well as the $250 million defamation lawsuit that he filed against the New York Times. The judge wrote, "The Wayfair parties have not alleged that Lively is responsible for any statements other than the statements in her CRD complaint, which are privileged. The Wayfair parties have alleged that Reynolds and the publicist Leslie Sloan made additional statements accusing Baldoni of sexual misconduct, and that the Times made additional statements accusing the Wayfair parties of engaging in a smear campaign. But the Wayfair parties have not alleged that Reynolds, Sloan, or the Times would have seriously doubted these statements were true based on the information available to them, as is required for them to be liable for defamation under applicable law." So basically what this is saying is he does not believe that Ryan Reynolds or Leslie Sloan said something that they did not believe to be true against Justin Baldoni. The judge also added that the Wayfair party's additional claims also fail. Accordingly, the amended complaint must be dismissed in its entirety. So the judge based his opinion on the fact that Blake Lively included her allegations in a civil rights complaint, and therefore she can't be held liable for these claims. And the New York Times reported on Blake's complaint and based it on her allegations that she made in her civil rights complaint. Now, as you know, Justin Baldoni accused the Times of cherry-picking messages, which has been proven not to be true. And the judge said that their article was very closely tracked to Blake's actual complaint. The judge went on to say the Times reviewed the available evidence and reported, perhaps in a dramatized manner, what it believed to have happened. The Times had no obvious motive to favor Lively's version of events. As you recall, Justin Baldoni was suing Ryan Reynolds for defamation, saying that he called him a sexual predator. But again, the judge ruled that this statement was also consistent with Blake's allegations in her complaint, and that Reynolds had no reason to believe that this was untrue, so it is not part of a defamation claim. Blake Lively's lawyers are calling this a total victory and a complete vindication for the actress and the others who Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties dragged into their retaliatory lawsuit, including Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, and the New York Times. As we have said from day one, this $400 million lawsuit was a sham, and the court saw right through it. We look forward to the next round, which is seeking attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages from the Wayfair parties who perpetuated this abusive litigation. What this means is that Blake Lively's team is now going to be going after Justin Baldoni's teams for all of their attorney fees that are related to his countersuit, as well as going after treble damages, which is basically triple the damages due to the fact that this was such a frivolous sham lawsuit against her, and punitive damages for any damages they have occurred. Leslie Sloan's lawyer said, Leslie Sloan has consistently said that she never defamed Baldoni or the Wayfair parties, and she was wrongfully dragged into this lawsuit because the Wayfair parties wanted to actively harm Sloan's reputation. Today's decision by the court makes clear that Sloan did nothing wrong. Sloan stands fully vindicated and justice has been served. Now, I've not seen a response yet from the New York Times, but in the past they have said our story was meticulously and responsibly reported. Surprisingly, though, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, has not given a comment yet. He actually responded to TMZ saying no comment. Now, it is interesting to note that the judge did add to this saying Baldoni's legal team can still amend the claims for breach of implied covenant and tortious interference with contract if they choose to, with a deadline of June 23rd. So what that means is that Baldoni's team could still go after Blake Lively if they believe that she has interfered or gone against her contract in any way. We'll have to wait and see by June 23rd if Brian Friedman and Justin Baldoni decide to do this. For right now, Blake Lively's team is calling this a total victory. The countersuit against her has been dropped, and she is scheduled to take Justin Baldoni and all Wayfarer parties to court in March of 2026.